Hi, I'm Dr. Gemma, and welcome back to Cognitive, the Knitting Psychology podcast. Cheerfully and somewhat irregularly in business since 2008. Segments today may include what's on my hooks, needles, and spindles, a strategy, something I really like, put a lid on it, oh shoot, and blather. So sit back, put your feet up, pick up your knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, or dyeing, or any other yarny thing you're doing, and get ready to enjoy. Well, hi there, it's Gemma, and this is episode 263 of the new series of the Cognitive Podcast. I'm calling this episode Numbed because I want to explain to you right up front what that top picture is. In the show notes. I went to the dentist and I will talk about that. But I walked into her restroom in the middle of things and I was numbed. And that's what I looked like. And if you really must go look at that picture because believe it or not, I'm laughing in that picture. I'm not mugging. That's how I looked. But it really was an interesting experience. If you go further down the show notes, you can see me in the sunglasses while I was numbed. Oh, what a day. Your comments are very welcome. Please feel free to comment on the blog at cognitivepodcast.blogspot.com, or you can comment on our group on Ravelry, which is where I think most people do. Having said that, in the warm thanks department, Indigo13, thank you for enjoying the cat scam section of previous episode. Indeed, she continues to scam with her feeder, and we'll talk about that when Minerva gets the last word. Deviant Stitch, thank you for a great comment about the gender bias in schools and in teaching in general. And I say in the show notes, and it's true, it's very painful for me to think about it because I was a college professor, and you always wonder, were you doing this too? Were you favoring the guys in the classroom? And it's really disturbing because the other question we've never answered is, are we culturally conditioned to do this? Or is this some base hardwired behavior? Who knows? I have so many questions. In the meantime, I also want to thank my communities on Finch, on Reddit, on the ground in the Santa Clarita and Antelope Valley, and most of all in this group. You can see a picture of my two burbs together. They're in New York City. They've now collected all of the location posters from all the locations, so they're very happy. And they've hit 10% at all the locations. So now we just move around till we hit 20%, and we find some other obsessive thing to collect, I guess. Cognitive Fiber Retreat 11.5. Yes. Somebody new signed up this week, and I didn't get it. I'll have to go look in the show notes. But I'm happy about it. I think it's 2 people. I'll have to go back and check this. In the meantime, all the information is under the link in the show notes there where it says all info is right here, and you click on the word here. This is easy to do. Please mark your calendars. CFR 11.5 is scheduled for February 7th, 2026. CFR 12 will be November 14th, 2026. Yes, I've agreed to do it twice a year because really, why not? It's just fun. And you can see all the information you're going to need to sign up in the show notes, but also in our Ravelry group on the thread dedicated to CFR 11.5. I am still carrying the link to the message from our own Loretta, 1031, because she takes donations for her school's crocheting club, and they need them, and she's left us a really good list. Please be aware she's not taking wool yarns. She's looking for stuff that nobody's going to be allergic to, because that matters big time. So, just so you know. In the meantime, hey Gemma, what's on your hooks and needles? Well, first, I haven't finished anything because I really bogged down a lot on the winter doodle cowl. I just was so tired this week I couldn't knit, believe it or not. So you can see the latest iteration where I've gotten through the little tiny bands of pink and white, which is a color experiment. Now everybody keeps saying, oh, that's so gorgeous. I'm not as fond of this one. I don't think the colors are that interesting. In case you're wondering, On the very bottom of that, there's a little band of tiny geometric motifs, and that's in white. And then above it, there's what look like snowflakes. Actually, I think they're pine boughs. And they're in the leftover Virgo from Malabrigo Rios. Now, this is not pure white. This is cream and green and little bits of pink. It's speckled. So I'm using up that yarn, but I'm also using it to look at basically color coordination for my Christmas sweater, I hope. In any case, I haven't done a lot of that at night because I've just been wiped out because we've still got the upheaval at work. Fortunately, it ended this past week, that things are pretty much settled down. I have 2 patients who are still sort of bouncing around trying to figure out how they're going to get coverage, but most of us are doing really well. In the meantime, I continue to work on trains on the Cocoa Strange Brew. That is, it's in Malabrigo Rios Cocoa, and it's a strange brew from Tin Can Knits. And right now I'm on the body. I'm on the ribbing at the bottom. Now, the strange brew says 2 inches of ribbing. I always do 4 inches of ribbing at the bottom of my sweaters because I like a big band of ribbing. And that is not as big as it probably sounds, but I like the ribbing to have kind of a body of its own and a bit of dimension of its own. That was dimension, not dementia, for those of you to whom 4 inches ribbing sounds like a lot. Meanwhile, haven't been doing anything in the sprinting world, so let's talk about a strategy. And today's strategy, kids, is about anxiety therapy. And I decided to do some on myself because all therapy for anxiety is exposure therapy in some form. And that sounds a lot more terrifying than it is. So we tend to do it very soft. If you're afraid of dogs, we look at photos of puppies in my office, okay? We do it very soft. We don't just throw you in front of dogs and say, tough up, man up, get used to it. As a psychotherapist myself, I tend to do a lot of anxiety therapy. As someone whose original doctoral research was on post-traumatic stress disorder, and as someone who preferentially treats survivors of mass destruction as a sideline, I know a thing or two about this. Here's the curious thing. I have spent years avoiding dentists because I have anxiety. I just have a phobia. And that in itself is interesting. One patient said to me, "Oh, did you have a bad experience with a dentist?" I never had a good experience. But the experiences I've had have not been shocking and horrifying. They've just been kind of cold and inhumane. But I think that's the first important thing, is realizing when people have a phobia, when they have an anxiety, the event that caused it may not be an event. It may be a series of minor things that just added up in the person's mind. You really can't get into judging how serious somebody's stimulus